Hello, I'm Carolyn Yogi, and I've been asked to say a few words about the time I spent in Chad with Thomas in 1971-72. I was a very new Baha'i then, when I headed off to Fort Lamy, now N'Djamena, with little preparation, after meeting a pioneer called Bill Davies at the Fish Youth Conference in Switzerland. He was a friend of Olive MacDonald, secretary of the newly formed NSA. He was also the office manager of Continental Oil, and had been advised by the Universal House of Justice to give all of her time to the faith in the final year of the 9-year plan. Since I spoke French and could type, I presented myself to Conoco in London, and with a short time found myself being welcomed to what felt like a furnace by a wonderful group of singing Africans, 2 young Iranians and an elderly American lady. 2 boys were Nusrat Mosayyab, who passed away recently, and Bijan Yazdani, who I hope will be here today. Meanwhile, Thomas had recently married Shaheen, another of these valiant Persian youth who had been sent out during the 9-year plan in Cameroon and was preparing to come to Chad. He was a tall, gentle giant with twinkly blue eyes and a very reassuring and loving demeanour. I hadn't been to any cultural or pioneer training in the UK and rather dived into local life, but Thomas would patiently suggest what was appropriate. He was much loved by all the local believers. It was my first Christmas away from my parents, and we had always gone to the Christmas Eve service, even after my declaration the previous December, so I persuaded the pioneers to come to the church, which served the minority Christian community, including some expats who we didn't see much of. I remember it being rather a noisy affair with some inebriated participants. Thomas would come and go on teaching trips, and more than 50 years on, I don't recall his itineraries very well, but hopefully they are documented elsewhere. Dr. Samandari, Dr. Mahajir and Councillor Aziz Yazdi visited us during that time. There were very few tarmac roads in those days, and transport would be in big lorries which frequently broke down between towns. I eventually contracted amoebic dysentery and was bitten by a neighbourhood dog, so ended up in a hospital for some time, having rabies jabs, which wasn't very pleasant. Thomas and Shaheen would bring lovely Persian food and yogurt out to me, and also cleaned the mud house opposite the Baha'i Centre for my return. Eventually I had to come back to England to recover, and with no email and dubious postal services, we didn't remain in regular contact. So I was thrilled to recognise him at a water fountain during the 2009 regional conference in Istanbul. Ebash and I were there as part of the Cyprus contingent, and Tom was passing through with Mike and Daniel Blythe. I read somewhere recently that Tom had spent time in Albania, so perhaps that was linked to his attendance. Since then we've kept in touch, and I was happy to be asked to organise a reading of the play which he wrote with Sylvia Miley, calling on one of our local friends, Lisa, who was taught French by Thomas in Brazil, in the Baha'i-inspired school run by her parents. Thomas was known, loved and will be missed on many continents.